Lum is a Honolulu-based ceramic artist and photographer. As one of Hawaii's own, his art has taken him around the world where he's given workshops and studied under master artists to gain a deeper understanding of the art of the tea bowl, as well as widening his ever-expanding knowledge of the ceramic processes. Among many of his laurels, he is a prolific and award-winning photographer for Honolulu Civil Beat and operates one of the very few wood-fired pottery kilns in Hawaii. Cory, thank you for being here with us at the Donkey Mill Art Center.
A pleasure on my part, and thank you for inviting me. Having an awesome time here. Great weather, good people. Thank you very much.
Well, let's get started with some questions. Everybody's got their origin story, so how did you get started working in ceramics?
It was many years ago. A dear colleague of mine ran up to me in the parking lot and asked for a check. I was kind of puzzled. I got the check, X amount of dollars, and he told me ceramics class begins on Monday at 6:30. And I was like, oh wow, cool, you know. So showed up, and it was Sally Murchison's beginning pottery wheel class and at the Potter's Wheel, and basically the rest is history.
So do you think your friends saw some innate talent within you and that's why they wanted to give you that class?
I think we talked about, like, I always wanted to learn, on the wheel, throwing. It looked like a lot of fun, and so I was intrigued. I didn't realize how difficult it was until I suffered for many months.
Yeah, it's elusive.
Yeah, grinding a lot of layers of skin away.
Now that you're more experienced, do you subscribe to any philosophical or conceptual school of ceramic arts?
Yeah, for me, I'm really a student the whole time. I try to approach ceramics with a real um, young and fresh outlook. Always trying to learn new techniques, firing, glazes, clay, and I think I try to keep an open mind as keeping humble and always thirsty for new and more knowledge out there.
And in some of your artist statements, you'd mentioned wabi sabi and similar ideas like that. And how do those influence what you make in clay?
That's a really good question. I think my personal view is with wabi sabi specifically, tea bowls. It's a real, I guess, a balance where if you try to force the form into this box called wabi sabi, or another Japanese philosophy is shibue, it's kind of like rustic, and I think if you force it, it tends not to be that kind of form. So you kind of almost have to kind of ignore that what your goal is and just free your mind and work freely without any kinds of pressure. And I find when I work, maybe have a beer or what, relax after a day, and get really into the groove where you're free from, your hands move and you're not thinking about anything.
Cory, has your upbringing in Hawaii influenced your art practice at all?
Oh, definitely. My mom's side's second generation Japanese immigrant. On my dad's side, he's local Chinese, Korean background. So I'm kind of mixed culturally. But like growing up in Hawaii, having the access to the University of Hawaii's ceramics, East-West ceramics program that they brought all these amazing teachers from Korea, China, Taiwan, Japan. It's like I didn't really have to travel to study with these masters. They came and they brought MFA students and undergrad students, and each one of them was like an accomplished artist. So having like multiple years of these workshops at UH and going there, bringing food and just learning from all these different basically teachers and influences.
Sure, it's like you get your own ceramic melting pot with those conferences.
Definitely.
Here.
The best part is I didn't have to leave to go anywhere. Everyone traveled into UH, and
right.
It was fantastic.
And why wouldn't they want to come to Hawaii to make ceramics?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, it's like paradise for them, and it was clay paradise for me.
Yeah. No, it's really lucky. I studied there too, so getting to see a lot of that international influence at UH Manoa.
Definitely. Yeah, some really movers and shakers in the world of ceramics, and cruise through the magic clay halls of the art building.
For sure.
Alion, many.
Well, speaking about other artists, would you pick any artist, alive or otherwise, that you would want to collaborate with? Like a dream team type thing.
Well, one of my first, in my early class, a colleague of mine in class, a lady from Japan, had this magazine, and there was this very misshapen tea bowl that really spoke amazing words, and just the photograph itself. And it was made by this artist, Kato Tokuro, and he's mainly works in Shino, in the Mino area, and he was kind of a rebel, and he passed away in I think 1987. But beautiful, free, whimsical forms that just you know that he was just very free thinking, and it just it's like whimsical. I mean, it's hard to describe a 3D tea bowl, in words. I picked up some of his bowls, and his bowls are like, $250,000.
Wow.
It's crazy. People really appreciate his work. And another one is a Bizen artist, Kakurezaki Yuichi. He's like a genius working the clay, and he makes these sculptural, functional forms that carved, but they look like they're floating off of the ground. So they look like anti-gravity sculptures, and so it's a tremendous influence to working in 3D. My main work, I work in 2D, but the magic of 3D is you almost like circumambulate the temple, circumambulate the sculpture, and being able to see something that looks like it's there, but if it's off of the ground somehow, and it was designed that way, it's so genius. And many of Kakurezaki's forms have that really flowing, anthropomorphical, almost natural and not very linear forms. Very, I guess, I don't know what the right word would be, but they look like living and moving things. These are some of the tools I make. There's certain needs that I find that there's no tools out there that exist. This is made from kokobolo. And it's cool, it works it fits in your hand. I was inspired to make my own tools. I went to a museum in Imbe, Bizen, Japan, And all that was left of the potter was a bronze bust, the potter's ceramics, and all these amazing tools that he had, his own personal tools. So that was all that was left.
Yeah, the handles are all very ergonomic.
Yeah, they're designed to hold in my hand like this. Your thumb goes there.
Well, during your residency here, we've talked a lot about the tea bowl. What would be your ideal tea bowl, or is there such a thing?
I think with the tea bowl, it's sort of a lifelong quest to make something that really feels balanced in your hand. Everything synchronizes, you got the right clay body, you got the right pigment, surface, and the firing complements the piece. And I think it's one object or one ceremonial vessel that is very difficult to describe in words. You need to pick it up, you need to put your lips to the bowl and actually use it. Throw some matcha in there and whisk it up and really enjoy the tea and feel how the bowl melds with your body and your mind and this vessel, this kind of a sensual act where you actually hold the bowl up to your lips and then you're actually like almost kissing it. And so one Japanese philosophy or word is nomiyasui. Nomi is drink and yasui is easy. So when the bowl, almost has a synergy with you, it's nomiyasui, where the matcha froth, the matcha is flowing onto your palate. And of course balance and, the foot ring. It's very, very, there's all different parts of the bowl. Like everything has to work like a symphony, like everything has to sing together and not be fighting each other.
It sort of goes along with the old potter's adage that form follows function. So each tea bowl form corresponds with a specific type of tea or ceremony that goes with that tea too, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like if you take oolong and, it might work in a matcha chawang.
Sure.
You might not have the same, function.
Well, it might be hard to whisk matcha in a very small Chinese style tea bowl.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, would you give any advice to any students aspiring to master the ceramic arts?
That's a really good question. As you know, ceramics is kind of a lifelong or multi-life kind of project where there's so many facets to learn, different clays, you screw up all the time, there's mistakes, you think you're gonna get this and you don't get that. So I think being tenacious, don't give up. Keep practicing, learn as much from others, share what you know. It's like a two-way street with learning. I'm very open with any glazes, any processes that I've come along, but it's more like someone has to kind of ask you, because it's like, I can't remember a lot of things. Somebody pops in a question like, what about saggers? I'm like, I have a lot of high temp sagger background. So it's a matter of learning, sharing, and even teaching, and actually getting in there and sharing your knowledge to students instead of being cooped up in the studio and being solitary.
I imagine after years of experience, you have so many layers of information just filed away, and that question can spur it to come out.
Yeah, most definitely. There's half the things I can't remember, but a lot of the things, the failures, some of the successes, each thing has a story, background, a little bit of knowledge that was gained, and also all the teachers that I've had. I'm thankful to them that they're able to share their techniques, and many other students that we're also learning from too. So I'm very thankful.
Well, we owe a debt of gratitude to all of our teachers, I think.
Most definitely.
Well, Cory, thank you for being here with us. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Hey, thank you very much for bringing me out. It's awesome being in Honolulu, and being at the Donkey Mill Art Center. It's a fantastic studio. I can't wait to be back.
Yeah, hope to have you back soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mahalo.